Hi. Welcome to another edition of A Moment with Larissa Sangina. Hope you all are doing great. The rate of child abuse in our society is becoming so alarming, and I do not know what is happening. Please, we need to stop it. When you want to ask sometimes people related to discipline, are you serious? Discipline? Nah. Child abuse is a physical maltreatment or sexual harassment or molestation of a child below the age of 18. And this goes a long way to affect the child physical, emotional and psychological growth. This is very bad. Please, we need to stop this. And this goes a long way to affect them, not just now, but in the long run. As they grow up, it really affects them. And to think that most of this pain, this abuse is mostly done or carried out by the people that are closer to the children, the parents, people who are meant to protect them. They are the ones inflicting all sorts of pain and torture on these children. These children deserve to be protected. These children deserve to be loved. These children deserve the best from us. When we talk of a parent is a caretaker, a parent is a caregiver. If you have a child under you or you have children under you, know that you are a parent. And as a parent, know that it is not even it's not easy to be a parent. As a parent, you should know that children are open and vulnerable to mistakes and errors. And you owe them the duty to protect them. You owe them the duty to correct them when they make those mistakes. They can never be right all the time. Children will always make mistakes, and you owe them the duty to correct them. Tell them, discipline them. And whenever you correct and discipline them, you make them learn. Please, let's stop abusing children in the name of discipline. When you discipline a child, discipline is quite different from abuse. When you discipline a child, it's like a process of learning. You're teaching the child that what you did was wrong. You should do like this instead. Next time, don't do this. Because if you do this, it will have a consequence, and which is this. You should know how to treat children. You should know how to discipline them. And you should be able to differentiate which one is child abuse and which one is discipline. We should not go on exaggerating and treating these children bad when we are the ones who are supposed to protect them. Discipline, I would like to define discipline a little. Discipline, punishment, and abuse, according to the Oxford Advanced Level Learners Dictionary. Discipline simply means to train someone to follow a code of behavior. Punishment is the infliction or imposition of a penalty as a retribution for an offense. Abuse, it means to treat a person with cruelty, violence, especially regularly or repeatedly in such a way that it turns to cause damage or harm. You treat somebody, a child, with violence, cruelty, you cause damage on the child. Please, in our African society, we are used to the cane, we are used to the whip. In those days, our parents call it Dr. Do-Good. You know that if you use a whip on a child, I don't know, to them, it formats the child brain and the child begins to reason normally. But people are beginning to draw the line. They are getting out of it. They are exaggerating. You cannot beat up a child, put bruises on that child's skin, inflict pain, wound the child, and you call it discipline. You cannot use an iron on a child and you call it discipline. You cannot use a knife on a child and you call it discipline. You cannot tie a child to the tree, whip the child, wound the child, and you call it discipline. You cannot lock up a child in the room or in a house for days without feeding the child, even if it's a day, and you call it discipline. You cannot maltreat a child, starve a child to death, beat a child to death, and you call it discipline. It's high time we draw the boundaries. It is getting out of hand. Some of us, we tend to pour our frustration on these poor children. What have they done? You're supposed to discipline them. Discipline them. When you discipline a child with love. But anything out of that is frustration, is hatred. You're disciplining that child to correct the child, to tell the child that next time you do this. And trust me, this child, in fact, children nowadays have become so vigilant and they are so inquisitive. Any little thing you do to them, they ask questions. Mommy, why did you do this? Daddy, why did you do this? Auntie, why? Did you have to do this? They are very observant. And everything you do, they take note of it. You see, some children are very quiet in school. They don't talk. You don't know what they are going through. You don't know what they are going through. You don't know exactly what they are going through. Please, let's learn to know the difference. Treat children right, because that is what we are supposed to do as parents. These children do not deserve that pain we are putting on them, that we are inflicting on them. That is why it is important to know the kind of parent you are. If you don't know how to treat your children right, or you don't know how to treat a child right, I've said it, parent, it must not be biological. If you are a kid, if you are taking care of a child, or you have any child or children under you, you are a parent. The way you treat those children will affect the way they relate in society, will affect their emotions, will affect them physically. There are different types of child abuse. We have physical, we have emotional, we have educational, we have sexual. When we talk of sexual abuse, we talk of rape. When we talk of physical abuse, the pain you inflict on the child. When we talk of emotional, you use degrading and insultive words on the child, which makes the child have a low self-esteem about himself. All these things play a lot on the child's psychology. And it makes the child feel less about his or herself, or feels bad and does not want to associate with people. And sometimes the child cannot even open up to what he or she is going through. So we need to know and understand the kind of parent we are. Is it that you're a permissive parent, if you're an authoritative person, or you are an I don't care parent? A permissive parent, you're that kind that you let your child do whatever he or she wants. You don't want anybody to talk to your child. You don't want anybody to correct your child. You let the child do whatever he or she chooses to do. And trust me, when you do that, other people, in fact, outsiders, tend to realize the mistakes of your child, the errors that your child do, of which you are the one who is supposed to teach your child what is wrong and what is right. And when you do that, you're not doing any good for your child. If you're an authoritative parent, you're the type that when you enter the house, children disappear. You don't get along with your children. You don't communicate with them. One of this, it also helps to promote child abuse, because children don't tend to communicate with their parents. Your own child can be suffering and going through a lot in your house. The child can be abused under your own nose, and you are not aware, simply because you have not given the child the opportunity to communicate with you and express his or herself freely with you. Or he might be going through torture in school, or the teacher or somebody, because some teachers nowadays, they even violate children, outsiders. The child cannot open friends. There are a lot of things going on out there. So you should, even our brothers and sisters, there are a lot of things. We need to stand against it, and we need to protect our children first. I don't care parents, in fact, you don't care what your child does. Whether your child is with who, you don't care. Whether your child goes to where, you don't care. What is happening in the life of your child, you don't care, which is very dangerous. We need to pay attention to our children. We need to learn to communicate with our children. We need to learn to discipline them with love. We need to show them concern. We need to say no to any form of child abuse out there. If you have a neighbor, you see that person treating the child bad, report to the authorities. Please, these children deserve to be loved. They deserve to be protected. If you have any form, or you notice any form of child abuse out there, or domestic violence, please do well to report to the right authorities. Let's say no to child abuse. No to domestic violence. Save a child and save a life. I remain your very own Larissa Sanina. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, and share. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.